Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari Das. Now, have you ever gotten that devastating news that just knocked you down and just left you completely confused and in pain? So what I'm going to share with you here are some very interesting techniques based on Krishna's instructions on how to deal with such devastating bad news in our lives. I'm going to give you 5 practical steps to overcome the pain and not suffer uselessly. So let's get started. The first thing you have to do when you have a difficult new situation is to accept it. This is very strange and it's very hard, but the most important thing is to accept the situation. Accept the situation as it is, and accept the pain that came with the situation. Why do I say that? Because when we have bad news, when we suffer, we have a tendency to suffer because we're suffering, because we reject. We don't want to feel the suffering. We don't want to feel the pain. So that makes it hurt even more. You feel the pain of feeling the pain. So when you accept it, what that allows you to do is to then become an observer. No longer fighting it, you accept that the pain is there, and then you can take your little step back and you can observe the mind, because you are not the emotion. You can observe the emotion and its effects on your mind and on your body. You can observe your adrenaline flowing, your stomach clenching. You can observe these things, and because you're observing them, this allows you to start the process of curing it, not letting it affect you so much, not identifying yourself with it. So that's very important. Accept the pain and accept the situation. Why? Because until you accept the situation, how are you going to deal with it? How are you going to get over it if you don't accept that it's happened? There's no point fantasizing about, I don't want this situation. Yeah, of course we don't want this. We never want a bad situation. It's just okay. But it happened. So you have to just deal with it now. Which leads us to the second point. Don't get into victimization. Don't feel like a victim. Don't let the victimhood take over you. In victimhood, what happens is we lament, we complain, we cannot get over a problem because we are in the position of a victim. Victim means you're still subject to the problem. You're not overcoming the problem. A victim, by definition, is one who is there subject to the problem. You're lamenting. So don't feel bad for yourself. We can feel pity for others, but don't pity yourself. Don't pity yourself. Don't lament. Don't get stuck in victimhood. It's very hard, but as long as you do that, you will suffer even more, and you won't have the energy and the power and the mindset to start overcoming the problem, reducing its impact, because you're playing the role of victim. So we accept the situation, we observe the pain, we accept the pain, and we try to overcome victimhood. We get out of this victim mentality and start taking charge of the situation, which leads us to 3. So the first thing is, now you accept the situation, you're no longer a victim, you are responsible. You are in power, you are in charge. So think of these words: charge, power. It's you, responsibility. So now you're getting stronger from it. And the first thing you're going to do is 3 is, what can you learn from the situation? What lesson is there? Because there might be many levels of lessons, but at least a practical lesson, because now you're in charge, you're responsible. So how did I get to this situation? Did I drink and drive or something? Or did I, do something without a good contract? And then I got screwed over. Did I, invest in some stupid meme coin and I lost my money? And now I'm devastated because I lost my money. Did I fall for some, one of those, con artists? Somebody was like saying how wonderful and beautiful it was, and they were in love with me, and you fell for it. And you gave them all their money, you helped them out. How did I get to this situation? And one thing you can do is also avoid future situations, because a lot of times when we have like what we call bad news, it's actually just our expectations being frustrated. Because sometimes we build up expectations so high that when reality comes and doesn't match up with our expectations, we are destroyed. We are broken. Because you thought it was going to be this, but then it wasn't. So you can start avoiding future suffering by getting rid of all such expectations. In yoga, we don't work with expectations. You work in the here and now with dharma and in devotion bhakti. So you do your very best. You have a path, you have a plan, but your focus isn't in reaching the goal. Your focus is in acting today in the best way you can. Your focus is in dharma, is in the here and now, is in devotion right now. And if something changes that makes you change your plan, that's okay. You just create a new plan. But you don't lament that, oh, that thing I was, you're so expecting, I was expecting that thing, and now that thing is no longer. No. So start now avoiding future suffering by removing your expectations and focusing on the here and now. So that's a big lesson. But of course, there's also always a spiritual lesson. In all the yogic texts, you'll see there's always this big lesson, big invitation, like calling all humans. Life is full of suffering. So ask yourself, what are you doing here? What are you doing incarnated, stuck in a material body? How can you, an eternal spiritual soul, made of Satchit Ananda, you're made of eternity, consciousness and bliss, Satchit Ananda. Why are you here? Suffering, at the very least, you're suffering, birth, old age, death, and disease. Why are you here submitting yourself to these, and then you just had some horrible news happen? So, hello, wake up. So at the very least, we can also take that knowledge and use that to fire up our spirituality, to take seriously the need to get out of here. Get out. You have to get out of here. You have to use this human birth to become enlightened, to become free from the cycle of birth and death. So that's always a lesson that's always there. No matter what bad thing is happening, of course, even good, but no matter what bad news you have, you should always have that. Oh, I have to learn that. I have to why didn't I learn that? I have to take that seriously. At the very least, take that lesson from the situation. But also, again, practical lessons too. Now that you're in power, now that you're learning from it, so by learning from it, you're already getting some benefit from the situation. So now you're getting some benefit because you're getting wiser. Now, a very interesting thing happens now. You have to embrace this new horizon. Because what happens is, we have what we call mental maps. We use this term. It's really like a map. So you're going through life and you're not fully conscious that you have a mental map, but you are always thinking about it, in the sense that you're working with it, even if you're not conscious that you're working with it, but you are. You have a mental map, just like a map. Just imagine a map, and wherever you are, you kind of know what's your surroundings, where you've been, where you're going. So this is like a map, and we have a constant existential map, and we have maps of different kinds. We have relationship maps and financial maps and career maps and spiritual maps. So we have these different maps, and what happens with bad news that shakes us so much is because all of a sudden our map is you've just been transported alien abduction, this spaceship picked you up and just dropped you off in a different planet. It's what is this planet? You were having your little map, it was this is my life, then all of a sudden, what is this life? It's shocking, it's scary, it fills you with fear, and it's been pain, and it's oh, what is this? I had to, oh man, where's my, Imagine you're there and then some slavers pick you up and it's like, what is this new map? So it's a very shocking, one of the things that shock us is that all of a sudden it's a completely different map. It's a different life. You've been like thrown in a different life. But in all different lives, there's always something else that might be good. So there are new horizons. So what you have to do is, okay, this is a different map and I don't like it as much as the other map, but let me look at the new horizons. Let me see what else is available. Some doors have been closed, but what other doors have been opened for me? And one thing that might also help is that you might discover, because again, we have different maps. A lot of times when we have these huge traumatic changes of maps, we discover that we have a spiritual map. So you can unlock your spiritual map. A lot of people have from tragedies, they become more spiritual. They have the impetus to finally seek their self-realization. So a lot of people become, they have a greater communion with God. So sometimes, at the very least, your spiritual map is still there, because that's always with you. No matter what situation you find yourself in, the spiritual map is wonderful because it never varies. It's always there with you. So if you can unlock it now, even if your life is perfect, unlock it now, because when something does happen, you're going to have a great backup because, I have my spiritual map, so I'm okay. Because your spiritual map is always there, unchanging, just like spirit is unchanging, God is unchanging, your spiritual map is unchanging. It's always available. So at the very least, become more aware of your spiritual map, but also just in terms of practical stuff, become more aware of what's going on. I mean, for example, imagine a traumatic situation where a person, horrible accident, and they get like an amputation. Shocking. But maybe that person will then go to the Paralympics and get a medal and inspire millions of people and have this wonderful life as an athlete, inspiring so many. And how did that start? With a traumatic change. But there was new horizons, and that new horizon looked horrible. My God, I lost a leg. It's horrific. But there were new horizons there, new things that could happen. So new doors open. So be aware of this change and what's awaiting for me in this new planet, in this new map. What can I find here? Then 5, very important, practical action. What happens when we have a traumatic event is that we have our plans destroyed. I remember this still from COVID. When the pandemic hit, I remember like that feeling of confusion and the fear, because it was like, oof, right? All of us, all of our plans is, so many plans just destroyed, right? We had just, so it's like, and then new horizons, okay, and then new plans. So what you have to do is look out, try to find out what the new horizon is, and then create your new plan. And of course, in yoga, we're always working with Dharma, Bhakti, and mindfulness. We're always in the here and now, looking for our purpose, our dharmas, what is our duties, and doing that in the here and now with Bhakti. So that's what you want to do. You want to figure out, bring your mind to the here and now. Okay, what is the best of me in this new situation? The focus is still the same. That's what's wonderful about this knowledge. Whenever you're focused on Dharma, Bhakti, and the here and now, it's always the same. That's why we call this equanimity. You're always focused on this one, your focus is singular. Dharma, Bhakti, mindfulness. So in this new situation, quickly try to find out what is the best version of you. What are your new duties? What's your purpose, your dharma in this new situation? And then bring your mind to that. Start acting on that new dharma. On, walking in that new life. And that will immediately get you back to your old, to the best of you. It might even make you better because it might force you to be more in the here and now, more focused on Dharma, more focused on Bhakti, which ultimately is all that you need. That's what you need to make your life wonderful. So bring your mind back and then start taking one step at a time. Just one step at a time, focused always on your Dharma, your mind in the here and now. You really want to have your mind in the here and now. You have to control your mind. You don't want your mind racing to the future full of fear and doubt and future pain. No. It's a new situation. It's a little scary. So you want to be totally present in the here and now. Don't let your mind go off. Because when your mind goes to the future, it comes back with the fear virus. Fear only exists in the future. There's no fear in the here and now. You might be afraid now because you're afraid that something's going to happen in the future. So the more you can bring your mind to the here and now, the less fear you're going to feel. So that's it. Those are the 5 things. The next time something, shocking happens in your life, you have some very bad news, remember these 5 steps. First step, accept the situation, accept the pain. Second step, do not accept victimhood. Abandon victimhood as soon as you can so you can empower yourself. 3, start taking the lessons. What lessons are to be learned from this new situation, and especially start undoing any sort of expectations. Don't let expectations ruin your life. 4, embrace the new horizon. Look for what doors are opening after those doors have closed. And 5, practical action. Bring your mind back to your Dharma, to the here and now mindfulness, and to your devotion. Ask yourself, what is the best version of myself look like in this new situation? What should I do to express the best version of myself? Okay, well that's it. I hope you enjoy that and have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.